My chosen one, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what you are about to hear is not ordinary, and it is not sluchakaki. This is a direct command, a divine interruption sent at a precise moment in your life. On April 22nd, something shifted in the heavens, something ancient, something hidden, something that has your name written on it. And now, Archangel Michael is stepping forward with authority, saying clearly, I order you to open this now. Feel that urgency. This is not a gentle suggestion. This is not something to save for later. This is a command wrapped in divine timing. Because at this very moment, a secret file, yes, a real spiritual record, has been unlocked in heaven, and it carries your name. Not someone else's. Not a general message for the crowd. Yours. And here is the part that should make your spirit tremble. You have only a short window. The message says 2 minutes, but this is deeper than time on a clock. This is a narrow opening, a rare alignment, a moment where heaven leans close to earth and whispers something that could change everything. And just as quickly as it opened, it can be closed again. Deleted. Hidden. Sealed once more. Why now? Why you? Out of billions of people, why did your name rise at this exact second? You didn't find this message by accident. You were led here. Every delay, every struggle, every moment of confusion in your past was aligning you for this exact encounter. There is something in that file that you were not ready to see before, but now everything has changed. You may feel it already, a strange pull, a quiet tension in your chest, as if something inside you is saying, pay attention. This matters. That is not fear. That is recognition. Your spirit knows what your mind is still trying to understand. And listen closely, because the heavens do not open files without reason. Records are not unlocked without purpose. Something hath been activated. Something has been reviewed. Something hath been decided. And now, you are being called to witness it before it disappears again. There are moments in life that pass quietly, unnoticed, and then there are moments like this. Moments that stand outside of time. Moments that carry weight, meaning, and consequence. This is one of those moments. You are standing at a spiritual threshold, whether you realize it or not. Imagine a file sealed for years, untouched, protected, hidden from human eyes. Inside it are details, truths, and revelations about your path, your purpose, and something else, something unexpected. And suddenly, without warning, it is opened. Not for everyone. For you. But here is the tension that you cannot ignore. Why is there a countdown? Why would something so important be at risk of being taken away again? Because not every soul responds when called. Not everyone listens when heaven speaks. And not everyone is ready to receive what is written about them. But you are here. And that changes everything. Archangel Michael does not step forward without purpose. When he speaks with authority, it means something serious is unfolding. Something that requires your attention, your awareness, and your willingness to see beyond the surface. So do not scroll past this. Do not delay. Do not tell yourself you will come back later. Because this moment, this exact second, was written long before you even realized it. And now, the file is open. The question is, will you look inside before it disappears? There is something you were never told, something that has remained hidden behind the veil of the physical world, quietly existing beyond what your eyes can see. What you are about to understand now may shift the way you see your life forever. Because in the spiritual realm, nothing you experience is random, nothing you go through is forgotten, and nothing about you has ever gone unnoticed. There are records living, breathing records that hold the truth of your journey. Long before this moment, before you were even aware of your own path, a file was created. Not by human hands, not by chance, but by divine order. This file carries your name, your essence, your story. It is not just a collection of events, but a sacred account of everything you have faced, everything you have overcome, and everything that has been preparing you for what is now unfolding. And here is what makes this even more powerful. This file is not static. It is not something written once and left untouched. It is obeyed, reviewed, revisited. Every choice you have made, every tear you have cried in silence, every moment when you felt alone but kept going anyway, it has all been recorded. Nothing has slipped through the cracks. Nothing has been ignored. You may have felt invisible at times. You may have wondered if anyone truly saw your struggle, your patience, your endurance. But in the heavenly realm, there has never been a single moment where your life was not being witnessed. Even in your lowest points, when you felt forgotten, your file was still being written, still being protected, still being watched over. And now something has changed. This is not just about your past being recorded. This is about a recent shift, something that has caused your file to be reopened, re-examined, and unlocked. That does not happen without reason. Files remain sealed until the appointed time. So if yours has been opened now, it means a new chapter has begun, whether you realize it or not. Think about the past few days, or even the past few weeks. Has something felt different? A change in energy, a sudden awareness, a feeling that something is about to happen, but you cannot fully explain it. That is not your imagination. That is alignment. That is the moment when the physical world begins to catch up with what has already been decided in the spiritual realm. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian over these records, not as a distant observer, but as a protector and enforcer of divine truth. When a file like yours is opened under his authority, it signals that something significant is being revealed, something that you are now ready to understand. But here is where the mystery deepens. Not everything inside this file is easy to accept. Some parts may explain things you never understood. Some parts may reveal truths that were hidden from you for your own protection. And some parts may completely change the way you see certain people, certain situations, and even yourself. This is why it was sealed. There are truths that can only be revealed when the soul is ready. If shown too early, they could confuse you, overwhelm you, or even lead you away from your purpose. But now, something within you has reached a level of readiness. You have grown, even through pain. You have endured, even when it was difficult. And because of that, the timing has shifted. The unlocking of this file is not random. It is a response. A response to your growth. A response to your persistence. A response to something you have done, or perhaps something you have finally let go of. Heaven responds when the soul aligns. And right now, your alignment has triggered access to something that was once beyond your reach. But understand this clearly: not everyone gets this opportunity. There are many whose files remain sealed, not because they are unworthy, but because their moment has not yet come. But yours has been opened. That alone should tell you that something about your journey is entering a critical phase. And yet, the urgency remains. The window is still narrow. Because revelation requires response. It is not enough for the file to be opened. You must be willing to see what is inside. You must be willing to accept it, even if it challenges you, even if it surprises you. Because what is written in that file is not just information. It is direction. It is clarity. It is truth. And very soon, you are going to understand why it could not stay hidden any longer. There was a reason this was hidden from you. A very specific, intentional reason. Nothing in the divine realm is delayed without purpose, and nothing is revealed before its appointed time. You may have questioned in the past why certain answers never came, why clarity seemed just out of reach, why doors remained closed no matter how hard you tried to open them. But what you could not see then was that your file was sealed for your protection. Not because you were unworthy, not because you were forgotten, but because you were being prepared. There are truths that carried weight, and if they are revealed too early, they can disrupt the very path they were meant to guide. Imagine being handed a map before you even understand the journey. It would confuse you. It might even lead you in the wrong direction. So the heavens waited, patiently, carefully, watching you grow into the version of yourself that could finally handle what was written inside. Archangel Michael hath been guarding this timing with precision. Not a second too early, not a moment too late. Because what is being revealed now is not just information, it is activation. It is a turning point. And April 22nd was not randomly chosen. It aligns with something deeper, something orchestrated long before you became aware of it. You have changed. Even if you don't fully see it, even if you still carry doubts, something within you has shifted. The way you think, the way you respond, the way you endure it is not the same as before. You have been stretched, tested, refined. There were moments you thought would break you, but instead, they built you. Quietly, powerfully, permanently. And because of that, the seal has been lifted. But here is what makes this moment so intense. Not everything inside that file is easy to face. Some truths were hidden because they required strength to receive. Some revelations were delayed because they needed wisdom to understand. And some names, some connections, some hidden reality were kept from you because the timing was not yet safe. Now it is. And that means something is about to come into the light. You may begin to notice things differently. Conversations that feel strange. People who suddenly reveal a different side of themselves. Situations that no longer make sense the way they used to. This is not coincidence. This is exposure. When a file like yours is opened, it does not stay contained. It begins to affect your reality. That is why the urgency remains. Because once you see what is inside, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand, you cannot go back to not knowing. And the heavens know this. That is why this moment is so carefully timed. That is why you are being called now, not later. Listen closely because this is important. There was a version of you that would not have believed this message. A version of you that would have scrolled past, ignored it, dismissed it. But that version of you is no longer here. You have evolved beyond that point, even if you don't give yourself credit for it. This is why the file is open. This is why your name was called. And this is why Archangel Michael is not whispering but commanding. Because delay is no longer an option. Now here is what you must understand with complete clarity. The sealing of this file was never a denial. It was a preparation phase. Everything you went through was aligning you with this exact moment. Every delay was divine strategy. Every silence was intentional. Every closed door was protection. And now, the opening of this file is not just a revelation, it is a release. A release of truth. A release of clarity. A release of something that has been waiting for you to be ready. So if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel a mixture of curiosity and intensity, that is normal. You are standing at the edge of something significant. Something that was written about you long before today. And now you are finally ready to see it. Type "I am ready for the truth" in the comments if you feel this message deep within your spirit. Blessing code 5289 has just been activated over your life. And as this truth begins to unfold, understand this: you are not just witnessing something for yourself. You are becoming a vessel for something greater. When you support the spreading of messages like this, you are helping other souls awaken to their divine timing. The seeds you sow become light in someone else's darkness. Scripture says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." And this is not just a verse. It is a living promise speaking directly into your moment. Say within your heart, "I am choosing to be part of this divine mission." Because every offering, every act of support becomes a river that carries truth to those who are still searching. There are lives waiting to be touched, hearts waiting to be awakened, and your action right now can open that door. The PayPal link is placed in the description and even in the QR code before you as a pathway, not just to give, but to align. This is your moment to respond, not out of obligation, but out of divine recognition. As you give, may doors open for you. As you release, may blessings return to you multiplied. Step into this. Act now. Become part of what heaven is unfolding. There are moments in the unseen realm that never reach human ears, sacred gatherings where decisions are made, where timelines shift, where names are spoken with purpose. And what you are about to understand now is something few ever realize, that your name was spoken in such a moment. Not casually, not in passing, but with intention. There came a point, not long ago, when the atmosphere around your life began to change. You may not have noticed it immediately, because these shifts do not always announce themselves in obvious ways. They begin quietly, like a ripple in still water. But in the heavens, it was anything but quiet. There was movement. There was attention. There was focus on you. Your name was brought forward. And when that happens, it is never without reason. Archangel Michael stood present in that moment, not as a distant observer, but as a defender, a witness, and a voice of authority. Because when your name is spoken in such a setting, it means that something about your journey has reached a point of significance. A threshold. A decision point. Think about that for a moment. Out of countless lives unfolding across the earth, your name was called into focus. Your story, your path, your progress it was examined. Not to judge you in the way the world judges, but to recognize what has been forming within you. The strength you have built. The endurance you have shown. The quiet victories that no one else applauded, but heaven saw every one of them. Nothing about you is invisible there. Every time you chose to keep going when it would have been easier to give up, it was seen. Every moment you held on to hope when everything around you felt uncertain, it was recorded. Even the battles you fought in silence, the ones no one else understood, they were not only seen, they were honored. And that is what brought your name forward. It was not perfection. It was persistence. It was not having all the answers. It was continuing despite the questions. It was not a flawless path. It was a faithful heart. And now, because of that, something hath been activated. But here is where the weight of this moment deepens. When your name is spoken in the heavens, it does not remain just a discussion. It leads to action. It leads to decisions that begin to shape what unfolds next in your life. And that is exactly what has happened. A decision was made. Something regarding your path has been acknowledged, and because of that, the file you were not allowed to see before has now been opened. Not by chance, not by accident, but as a direct result of that moment when your name was called and your journey was reviewed. This is why things may begin to feel different around you. You may notice subtle changes, shifts in how people respond to you, shifts in opportunities, even shifts in your own thoughts and awareness. It may feel like something is rearranging itself behind the scenes, like pieces are moving into place without you fully understanding why. That is because they are. When a decision is made at that level, the effects begin to ripple outward. They begin to touch your reality, your environment, your connections. Things that were once stable may begin to shift. Things that felt certain may begin to change. And while that can feel unsettling, it is actually alignment taking place. You are being repositioned. And here is something you must hold on to. This is not happening against you. It is happening for you. Even the confusion you may feel is part of the transition. Because stepping into a new phase often requires leaving behind what once felt familiar. And sometimes, what is familiar is not what is meant to continue. So if something feels like it is moving, shifting, or even being removed, do not resist it immediately. Observe it. Pay attention. Because it may be directly connected to what has been revealed in your file. There are details you are about to understand that will make sense of things you once questioned. There are answers that will bring clarity to situations that felt confusing. And there are truths that will show you that nothing you went through was wasted. It was all part of the process that led to this moment. The moment your name was spoken. The moment heaven responded. The moment your file was opened. And now, you are standing in the aftermath of that decision. Not as someone unaware, but as someone being invited to see, to understand, and to step into what hath been prepared. So do not dismiss this. Do not reduce it to coincidence. Because moments like this are rare. And the fact that you are here, hearing this, feeling this is a sign that you were meant to be part of what is unfolding right now. Something has shifted in your favor. And very soon, you will begin to see exactly how. There is something within that file that goes beyond memories, beyond records, beyond explanations of your past. It is something that was placed there long before you ever understood your own life. A purpose, an assignment, a calling that has been quietly woven into every chapter of your journey, even when you were unaware of it. And now it is beginning to surface. This is not an ordinary realization. This is not just about discovering something new. This is about remembering something that your soul has always carried, something that has been waiting for the right moment to rise into your awareness. Because the truth is, you were never without direction. You were simply not shown the full picture until now. Archangel Michael has not only been guarding your file, but also protecting the assignment written within it. Not everyone receives this kind of clarity. Not everyone is entrusted with something that requires both strength and responsibility. But you have been chosen for something specific, and that may feel heavy. Because deep down, you may already sense it. There have been moments in your life where you felt different, where you felt like you were meant for something more, even if you could not explain what that more was. You may have tried to ignore it, to blend in, to follow paths that felt easier or more familiar. But no matter how far you went, that feeling never truly left you. That was not imagination. That was the assignment calling you long before you were ready to answer. Now understand this clearly: your life has not been random. The challenges you faced were not meaningless. The delays, the setbacks, the unexpected turns, they were all shaping you, preparing you, refining you for what you are now being called into. Think about the things you have endured, the lessons you were forced to learn, the strength you had to develop just to keep moving forward. At the time, it may have felt unfair. It may have felt exhausting. But now, when seen through this lens, you begin to understand something powerful. You were being trained. Every hardship carried a purpose. Every moment of confusion was building clarity within you. Every time you thought you were losing something, you were actually being redirected towards something greater. Nothing was wasted. Not a single experience. Because the assignment written in your file required you to become who you are today. And here is where it becomes even more intense. This assignment is not something you can ignore forever. You may delay it. You may question it. You may even try to walk away from it. But eventually, it will find you again. Because it is tied to your very existence. It is part of who you are, not just something you do. This is why the file was opened now. Because the time for preparation is shifting into the time for action. You are no longer in the phase of being shaped. You are entering the phase of being activated. And that can feel overwhelming. Because stepping into an assignment like this means stepping into responsibility. It means seeing things more clearly. It means recognizing truths that others may not yet see. And sometimes, it means walking a path that not everyone will understand. But you are not being sent into this unprepared. Everything you need has already been placed within you. The strength you build through your struggles, that is part of it. The wisdom you gain through your experiences, that is part of it. Even your sensitivity, your awareness, your ability to feel deeply, that is part of it too. Nothing about you is accidental. And now, as this assignment begins to reveal itself, you may start to feel a pull, the sense that you are being guided towards certain actions, certain decisions, certain changes. It may not always be loud or obvious, but it will be consistent. That is the activation beginning. Do not ignore it. Do not dismiss it as coincidence. Because this is the moment where your awareness and your purpose begin to align. And here is something important you must hold on to. You are not expected to understand everything all at once. The assignment will not be revealed in a single overwhelming moment. It will unfold step by step, as you continue to move forward, as you continue to listen, as you continue to trust. But the first step is recognition. Recognizing that this is real. Recognizing that this is happening. Recognizing that you have been chosen for something that matters. And as this realization settles within you, something else will begin to rise, a quiet confidence, a deeper sense of direction, a knowing that you are no longer wandering without purpose. Because you are not. You never were. You were simply being prepared for the moment when the assignment would finally be revealed. And that moment is now beginning. As the layers of this file continue to unfold, there is a shift you cannot ignore, a change in tone, a weight that feels different from everything that came before. Because within this sacred record, there is not only purpose and preparation, there is also a warning. A clear, intentional message that was not meant to be revealed until you were strong enough to receive it without fear controlling you. This is where your awareness must sharpen. Because what is really not meant to frighten you, but to awaken you. There is something in your environment, something or someone that has not been fully aligned with your path. And for a long time, it remained hidden, not because it was invisible, but because you were not yet meant to see it clearly. You may have sensed it in small ways, moments of doubt, subtle discomfort, a feeling that something was slightly off but never obvious enough to confront directly. That feeling was real. It was your spirit recognizing something before your mind could explain it. Archangel Michael does not release warnings lightly. When something like this is revealed under his authority, it means that the time for ignoring subtle signs has ended. It means that clarity is now more important than comfort. And it means that what has been hidden is beginning to come into the light. But understand this clearly, this is not about creating suspicion. or turning you against others without reason. This is about discernment. It is about seeing with clarity instead of assumption. Because not everything that appears supportive is truly aligned, and not everything that feels familiar is meant to remain in your life. There is a presence, whether a person, a connection, or an influence, that has been operating in a way that does not fully support where you are going. It may not have been obvious. It may not have been intentional in the way you expect, but its effect hath been subtle resistance, quiet interference, or a slow graining of your clarity and peace. And now, you are being shown this not all at once, but in pieces. You may begin to notice patterns repeating themselves, words that carry a different tone than before, actions that no longer match what you once believed. You may even start to feel a distance growing within you, not forced, but natural, as if something inside you is gently pulling away. That is not coincidence. That is alignment correcting itself. This is why the warning was hidden until now. Because earlier in your journey, you may have reacted from emotion rather than understanding. You may have acted too quickly, or perhaps not at all. But now, you are being given something different. You are being given awareness with stability. You are being shown the truth while being grounded enough to handle it. And that changes everything. Because now, you have a choice. You can continue to ignore what you feel, or you can begin to trust it. You can dismiss the signs, or you can observe them with honesty. You can remain in what is familiar, or you can begin to align with what is true. This is where your growth is tested. Not in dramatic decisions, but in quiet recognition. Ask yourself who brings clarity into your life, and who brings confusion. Who supports your growth, and who subtly resists it. Who celebrates your progress, and who seems unsettled by it. The answers may not come all at once, but they will come. And when they do, you will feel it, not as fear but as certainty. Because truth carries a different energy. It does not need to force itself. It simply becomes undeniable. And here is something you must hold on to during this process. You are not being abandoned, and you are not being left to figure this out alone. Archangel Michael is not only revealing what needs to be seen, but also protecting you as you begin to understand it. You are being guided through this, step by step, with precision and care. Nothing will be revealed without purpose. Nothing will be shown without protection. And nothing that is removed from your path was meant to remain in your future. So if you begin to feel shifts of certain connections, feel different of situations, begin to change in ways you did not expect, do not panic. Do not resist immediately. Instead, observe. Listen. Pay attention to what your spirit is showing you. Because this warning is not here to harm you. It is here to free you. To remove what no longer aligns. To clear the path ahead. And to ensure that nothing stands in the way of what has already been prepared for you. You are not losing anything of value. You are gaining clarity. And that clarity will lead you exactly where you are meant to go. As the deeper layers of this file continue to unfold, there is a detail that stands out with unusual intensity, a presence that is not just symbolic, but specific. It is not vague. It is not general. It is defined. And within the record, there is a clear mention of a woman whose connection to your life carries significance, far more than you may have realized until now. This is where everything becomes more personal. Because this is not about distant energy anymore. This is about someone who exists within your reality, someone whose path has crossed with yours in a way that was never accidental. Whether her role hath been obvious or subtle, whether her presence has been consistent or intermittent, she is written into your file for a reason. And now, that reason is beginning to surface. Archangel Michael does not allow specific individuals to be highlighted without purpose. When a person is mentioned within a record like this, it means their influence, past, present, or even future, has a direct connection to your journey and your assignment. But here is where it becomes complex. Not every connection is what it seems on the surface. This woman carries a dual layer of meaning. On one level, she represents a connection that has shaped part of your path. She may have been someone you trusted, someone you opened up to, or someone whose presence felt significant in a way you could not fully explain. There may have been moments where her words or actions impacted you more deeply than you expected. That was not random. But on another level, there is something hidden. Something that has not been fully revealed until now. You may begin to recall moments where something felt slightly off, even if you could not define it at the time. A subtle inconsistency, a shift in tone, a feeling that something was being held back or not fully genuine. These moments may have been small, easy to dismiss, easy to overlook. But now, as this truth unfolds, they may begin to connect in a way that brings a new understanding. This is not about immediate judgment. This is about awareness. Because the presence of this woman in your file is tied to a moment of exposure. Not necessarily in a dramatic or confrontational way, but in a way that reveals truth over time. A gradual unveiling. A quiet realization. A moment where you see clearly what was once hidden behind familiarity. And this is where your discernment becomes essential. Ask yourself, what role has this person truly played in your life? Beyond the surface, beyond the words, beyond the appearances. What has her presence brought into your energy? Has it strengthened you, or has it quietly created confusion? Has it supported your growth, or has it subtly held you back? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary ones. Because the file does not mention her to create doubt. It mentions her to bring clarity, to help you see what you may not have been ready to see before. And as this clarity begins to form, you may feel a shift within yourself. A distancing, not out of rejection, but out of understanding. A quiet recognition that something is changing. The change is not SLUJADIKAKI. It is alignment. And here is something important to understand. Not every connection is meant to last forever. Some people enter your life to teach, to shape, to influence certain parts of your journey. But when their role is complete, or when their presence no longer aligns with your path, something begins to shift. That shift is happening now. This does not mean this woman is entirely negative, nor does it mean her presence was meaningless. In fact, she may have played an important role in helping you become who you are today. But her position in your life may not be the same moving forward, and that is what is being revealed. You may notice changes in how you interact, conversations that feel different, a sense of distance that was not there before, or even a moment where something becomes clear in a way that cannot be ignored anymore. When that happens, trust what you feel, because truth does not force itself, it reveals itself. And as it does, you are being given the opportunity to respond with wisdom rather than emotion, to step back, to observe, and to decide what aligns with your path moving forward. Archangel Michael stands as your protector in this process, ensuring that what is revealed does not harm you, but instead guides you. You are not being left in confusion. You are being led into clarity. So do not rush to conclusions. Do not act out of impulse. But do not ignore what becomes clear. Because this part of the file is not SLUJADIKAKI. It is intentional. It is precise. And it is preparing you for what comes next. A moment where truth becomes undeniable. And when that moment arrives, you will know exactly what to do. There is something you must understand right now, and it cannot be softened or delayed. The countdown is not coming. It has already begun. From the moment your file was opened, from the second your name was spoken and this revelation was released, a spiritual clock started moving. Not one you can see with your eyes, not one you can measure with ordinary time, but one that is deeply connected to your response. Because in moments like this, time is not just passing, it is testing. Testing your awareness, testing your readiness, testing whether you will act or hesitate. The 2 minutes you were warned about is not just a number, it is a window. A narrow opening where truth is accessible, where clarity is available, where direction is being offered without obstruction. But windows like this do not remain open forever. They require recognition. They require movement. And most importantly, they require decision. Archangel Michael is not speaking in urgency without reason. When that level of authority is used, it means that delay carries consequences. Not punishment, but loss of timing. Misalignment. A slowing down of what was meant to unfold quickly. You have been brought to this moment because you are capable of responding now, not later. But here is the truth many people struggle to accept. When divine timing arrives, it rarely feels convenient. It does not wait for perfect conditions. It does not pause until you feel completely ready. You arrive suddenly, intensely, and with a sense that something must be done. That is exactly where you are. You may feel it as a pressure in your spirit. Not fear, but urgency. Not anxiety, but awareness. A quiet but persistent voice inside you saying, "Do not ignore this. Do not wait." That voice is not SLUJIKEKI. That is alignment, calling you forward. And yet, there is always a temptation to delay. To tell yourself you will think about it later. To push it aside because it feels overwhelming or unclear. But understand, this delay is the easiest way to miss what was meant for you in this moment. Because the countdown does not stop. It continues whether you respond or not. So what does it mean to respond? It does not mean making reckless decisions or acting without thought. It means becoming fully present. It means paying attention to what is being revealed. It means allowing yourself to see clearly, even if what you see challenges your comfort. It means choosing awareness over avoidance. And here is something deeper. The countdown is also about alignment. The longer you remain out of alignment with what is being shown to you, the more resistance you may feel in your life. Delays, confusion, repeated patterns. These are often signs that something is waiting for your response. But when you align, things begin to move. Clarity replaces confusion. Your action replaces uncertainty. And what once felt blocked begins to open. This is why the urgency exists. Not to pressure you, but to position you. Because right now, you are standing at a point where your response can accelerate everything that has been prepared for you. The assignment, the clarity, the shifts you have been sensing, they are all connected to this moment of decision. And here is the most powerful part: you do not have to have everything figured out. You only need to take the first step. That step may be internal. A decision to trust what you feel. A willingness to release what no longer aligns. A choice to stop ignoring what has been shown to you. It may also become external. A conversation, a boundary, a shift in direction. But it begins within you. Because once you decide, everything begins to respond. Archangel Michael is not only calling you to act, he is standing with you as you do. This is not a test you face alone. This is a moment of alignment where you are supported, guided, and protected. But the choice is still yours. The countdown continues. The window is still open, but not forever. So do not wait for another sign. You not ask for more confirmation. You are already being shown what you need to see. Now is the moment to respond. Type "I step into divine timing" in the comments if you feel this urgency in your spirit. Blessing code 9417 has now been released and activated over your path. And as you step into this divine timing, hear this clearly: your action does not only shift your life, it opens doors for others who are still waiting in darkness. When you give into this mission, you are not losing, you are sowing. Like a seed placed into sacred soil, your offering becomes light, becomes reach, becomes transformation in someone else's life. The word declares, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy," and this is your moment to turn obedience into harvest. Say it within yourself now: I am part of this divine flow. Because your giving is not small, it is spiritual movement. Every contribution through Super Thanks or PayPal becomes a river that carries truth to souls who are searching for exactly what you just received. The link is already waiting in the description, and the QR code is placed before you as a gateway of alignment. Do not delay this response. Step into it. Release what you are led to give, and watch how heaven responds back to you in ways you cannot predict. This is your moment. Act on it now. Before this moment ever arrived, before the file was opened, before your name was spoken, before the urgency reached you like it is now, there were signs. Quiet signs. Subtle signals woven into your life, trying to get your attention long before you fully understood what they meant. And now, as everything begins to connect, you may start to recognize them. Because being chosen is not something that happens suddenly without indication. It leaves a trail, a pattern, a series of moments that, at the time, may have felt confusing, random, or even insignificant, but now they begin to make sense. Think back. There were times when you felt a deep inner knowing even when you had no logical reason for it. Moments where something told you to move in a certain direction, to trust something, or to avoid something, even when it didn't make sense on the surface. And voice, that feeling, it was guiding you long before you realized it. There were also moments of isolation, times when you felt set apart, misunderstood, or disconnected from others. Not because you were meant to be alone, but because your path required a different kind of preparation. While others were moving in one direction, you often felt pulled in another. And even though it was uncomfortable, even though it made you question yourself, it was shaping you. You were being separated for alignment. Archangel Michael has a way of preparing those who are chosen by allowing them to walk through seasons that refine their awareness. Seasons where distractions are removed. Seasons where clarity is built through experience, not explanation. And if you are honest with yourself, you have lived through those seasons. There were repeated patterns too. Situations that seemed to happen again and again. Lessons that kept returning until you finally understood them. You may have wondered why certain challenges didn't just pass once and disappear. But now you can see they were not SLUCHADICACUDI. They were training. Each repetition was sharpening your understanding, strengthening your discernment, preparing you for the moment when you would need it most. And then there were the moments of unexpected protection. Times when something could have gone wrong, but didn't. Times when you were redirected, delayed, or even stopped from going down a certain path, only to later realize that it saved you from something you could not see at the time. That was not luck. That was intervention. That was protection surrounding your path, ensuring that you reached this moment exactly as you were meant to. You may also remember moments of sudden clarity. Times when, without warning, something just made sense. A realization that came out of nowhere. A truth that became clear in an instant. Those moments were glimpses, small openings where you were allowed to see beyond the surface, even if only for a short time. Those glimpses were preparing you, because now, the clarity is no longer temporary. It is becoming consistent. And here is something even deeper. There were emotional signs too. Feelings that did not always match your environment. A sense of longing for something more, even when everything around you seemed normal. A quiet awareness that your life carried meaning beyond what you could currently see. You may not have had the words for it, but you felt it. That feeling was not imagination. It was recognition. Recognition of a calling that had not yet been revealed. Now, as this file opens and these truths begin to unfold, all of those signs are coming together. They are no longer separate moments. They are pieces of a larger picture. A picture that shows you clearly you were never slujadipaki. You were never overlooked. You were being guided the entire time. And this is why you are here now. Not by chance, not by coincidence, but by design. Archangel Michael does not call someone into awareness without preparing them first. Everything you have experienced has led to this point, where you can finally see, understand, and step into what has been waiting for you. So if there is any doubt within you, release it. If there is any hesitation, look back at the signs. Because your life has already been speaking to you. The patterns, the protection, the clarity, the feeling that something more was ahead. It was all pointing here, to this moment, to this realization, to this truth you were chosen. And now, you are beginning to remember why. There is a truth that must be spoken with clarity now, not to create fear, but to bring understanding. Because every calling carries a response, and every moment of revelation carries a choice. You have been shown something significant. You have been brought into awareness. And now, the question is no longer whether this is real, the question is how you will respond to it. Because ignoring this moment does not make it disappear. It simply delays what was meant to unfold. Understand this carefully. When something is revealed at this level, it is not slujadipaki. It is not optional in the way ordinary decisions are. It is an invitation into alignment. And like all invitations, it can be accepted or it can be postponed. But postponement comes with consequences, not punishment, but delay. Delay in clarity. Delay in movement. Delay in becoming who you were meant to be. Archangel Michael does not bring urgency without reason. If you were not ready, this moment would not have reached you. If you were not capable, this message would not have found you. But because you are ready, because you are capable, because your time has aligned, the expectation is different now. Ignoring this does not return you to where you were before. It creates resistance. You may begin to feel it in subtle ways. A sense of being stuck, even when you are trying to move forward. Repeating patterns that you thought you had already outgrown. Situations that seem to loop back, as if something is unresolved. That is not slujadipaki. That is misalignment. Because once truth hath been revealed, continuing to live as if it has not been seen creates tension. Your spirit begins to pull you in one direction, while your habits or environment may try to keep you in another. And that tension is what creates discomfort. But here is the deeper reality. Ignoring this does not cancel your assignment. You only postponed it. The calling remains. The purpose remains. The path remains. But the timing shifts. Opportunities that were meant to open easily may require more effort later. Clarity that could have come quickly may take longer to settle. And the flow that you are being invited into now may feel blocked, not because it is gone, but because it is waiting for your response. And this is where many people become confused. They feel the calling, but they hesitate. They sense the shift, but they delay. And then they wonder why things do not move the way they expected. It is not because they were forgotten. It is because they did not respond when the moment was open. But hear this clearly, this is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to awaken you, because you are still within the window. The fact that you are hearing this now means the opportunity is still present. The alignment is still available. The path is still open. But it requires something from you: acknowledgement, a decision to no longer ignore what you feel, a willingness to face what has been revealed, a choice to move forward, even if you do not have every answer yet. Because waiting for complete certainty is often the very thing that causes delay. Clarity grows through movement, not hesitation. And here is something you must understand deeply: you are not being asked to be perfect. You are not being asked to have everything figured out. You are simply being asked to respond, to take a step, to trust what is being shown to you, to stop pretending that this moment is ordinary, because it is not. This is a turning point, and turning points require action. Archangel Michael is not standing before you with this message to pressure you, but to guide you, to make it clear that your life is moving into a phase where awareness must be followed by alignment, where understanding must lead to decision. So ask yourself honestly, what are you avoiding? What truth have you been sensing but not fully accepting? What step have you been feeling called to take but have been delaying? These questions are not sluchapi. They are directly connected to what is being revealed in your file. And the moment you begin to answer them with honesty, everything begins to shift. Because ignoring this may delay your path, but responding to it will accelerate it. And right now, you are standing at the point where that choice is entirely yours. So do not turn away. Do not dismiss what you feel, because this moment was not given to you to be ignored. It was given to you to be answered. Now, as everything you have heard begins to settle within you, the urgency, the revelation, the warning, the calling, there is something you must not overlook. Something that stands as the foundation beneath all of this. Because you are not being led into this moment unguarded. You are not being exposed without covering. You are not being awakened without protection. You are being watched over. You are being shielded. You are being guided. Archangel Michael is not only the one who revealed the command, he is also the one assigned to stand with you as you walk through it. His presence is not distant or symbolic. It is active. It is intentional. And it is positioned around you in ways you may not always see, but will begin to feel more strongly as your awareness grows. Because when a file like yours is opened, when truths begin to surface, when hidden things are brought into the light, there is always a need for protection. Not just from external forces, but from confusion, fear, and misinterpretation. And that is exactly where his presence becomes undeniable. There have already been moments in your life where you were protected without realizing it. Times when something could have gone wrong, but didn't. Moments when you were guided away from a situation, even if you didn't understand why at the time. Situations where you felt a sudden pause, a hesitation, or an inner voice telling you not to proceed. That was not sluchapi. That was protection. That was intervention. And now, that same protection is intensifying. Because as you step deeper into alignment, as you begin to see more clearly, as you start to respond to what has been revealed, you become more aware not only of truth, but also of what does not align with it. And that awareness requires strength. It requires clarity. It requires a sense of stability that cannot be easily shaken. This is what Archangel Michael provides. He does not remove every challenge, but he ensures that no challenge overtakes you. He does not silence every difficulty, but he strengthens your ability to move through it. He does not isolate you from reality, but he surrounds you with a presence that keeps you grounded within it. And here is something important you must understand: protection does not always feel like comfort. Sometimes it feels like distance. Sometimes it feels like something being removed from your life. Sometimes it feels like a door closing, even when you wanted it to stay open. But what you must recognize is that not every closed door is a loss. Some are shields. Some are barriers placed between you and something that was not meant to reach you. And when you begin to see it that way, you realize that protection is not always about what is given. It is also about what is withheld. There are things you were never allowed to fully step into. Situations that never fully developed. Connections that slowly faded without clear explanation. At the time, it may have felt confusing, even disappointing. But now, as everything becomes clearer, you begin to understand you were being guarded, and that guarding continues now. As the truths within your file begin to influence your reality, as the warning becomes clearer, as the assignment begins to unfold, you are not walking into uncertainty alone. You are being accompanied by a presence that sees beyond what you can see, understands what you cannot yet understand, and acts in ways that keep you aligned with what has been prepared for you. So if you feel moments of doubt, remember this. If you feel moments of hesitation, remember this. If you feel overwhelmed by the weight of everything unfolding, remember this. You are protected. Not in a distant or abstract way, but in a real, active, present way. Archangel Michael stands as both a guardian and a guide, ensuring that what has been revealed to you does not harm you, but strengthens you. That what is being removed does not weaken you, but frees you. And that what is ahead does not overwhelm you, but aligns with you. So do not walk in fear. Do not second-guess every step. Do not allow uncertainty to silence your movement, because protection is already in place. Guidance is already present, and strength is already within you. All you are being asked to do now is to trust it, to move forward with the knowing that you are not alone, and to step into what hath been prepared for you with confidence, not fear. Beloved soul, as everything now comes together, the urgency, the opening of the file, the warning, the assignment, the presence surrounding you, there is one final truth that must settle into your spirit. Not with fear, not with pressure, but with peace. Because at the center of all of this is not chaos. It is divine order. The file that was opened with urgency was never meant to leave you in confusion. It was meant to bring you into clarity. It was meant to awaken you, not overwhelm you. And now, as you stand at the end of this revelation, you are not the same as when you began. Something within you has shifted. You see differently. You feel differently. You understand differently. And that is exactly what was meant to happen. Archangel Michael did not command your attention just to create intensity. He did it to bring alignment. Because what was written in your file, what has now been revealed to you, carries one core message above all else: you are guided. You are protected. And you are positioned exactly where you need to be. Yes, there was urgency. Yes, there was a countdown. Yes, there were warnings and hidden truths that needed to be seen. But none of it was meant to harm you. It was meant to clear your path, to remove confusion, to awaken your awareness so that you can step forward without hesitation. And now the pressure begins to lift. Because once truth is seen, it no longer needs to chase you. It settles. It grounds you. It gives you a quiet confidence that does not need to prove itself to anyone. You no longer need to question whether this moment was real. You no longer need to wonder if you were meant to hear this. You already know. And that knowing is your peace. Take a breath here. Let everything you have received settle into your spirit, not as something heavy, but as something steady. You are not being rushed anymore. You are not being pushed. You are simply being invited to walk forward with what you now understand. The file may have opened with urgency, but it closes with assurance. Nothing that was meant for you will be taken away. Nothing that belonged in your path will be lost. And nothing that has been revealed will disappear. It will remain within you as guidance, as clarity, as truth. Even the things that may shift around you, even the people who may feel different, even the situations that may begin to change, all of it is aligning with what has already been written in your favor. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing anything. You are exactly where you need to be. And as you move forward from this moment, carry this with you. You do not need to rush to prove anything. You do not need to force anything into place. What is aligned will come. What is true will remain. And what is meant for you will find you, without confusion. Archangel Michael remains with you, not in urgency now, but in peace. Not in command, but in presence. Watching over you, guiding you quietly, ensuring that every step you take from here is supported. So release the fear. Release the doubt. Release the need to control every outcome. Because you have already been shown what you needed to see. And now you are free to walk forward in trust. Type "I walk in divine peace" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 8831 is now sealed over your life, bringing calm, clarity, and protection into every step you take. And as this peace settles into your spirit, hear this as a continuation of what heaven has just revealed. This message did not reach you by chance, and it is not meant to stop with you. There are souls still waiting, still searching, still standing at the edge of their own awakening, just as you were. When you respond to this moment through giving, you are not supporting a channel. You are opening a gate. You are becoming part of the flow that carries light into hidden places. Say within yourself, "Now, I am a vessel for this divine work." Because the word speaks, cast your bread upon the waters, and it will return to you. And this is not distant scripture. It is a living voice calling you into action right now. Your seed becomes fire. Your offering becomes oil. Your obedience becomes a river that reaches hearts across the world. The PayPal link waiting in the description and the QR code placed before you are not ordinary. They are points of alignment. This is your moment to act with intention, not hesitation. Release what you are led to give and step into the blessing of participation. As you sow into this mission, may doors open before you, may clarity increase around you, and may peace multiply within you. Do not wait. Do not delay. Step into this now and become part of what heaven is continuing to unfold.